the influx of people within the satellite towns, majority of the people works in the FCT. Due to this influx, a lot of infrastructural facilities were overstretched. They were overstretched and most of them made obsolete because over time they are no longer working. I can cite example with Suleja. I can cite example with Buhari, the new Buhari. I can cite example with Zuba. All those cities or satellite towns are in Niger State, but majority of the people that lives around there, they are working in FCT and they pay their taxes in terms of pay to FCT, not even where they are residing. So as such, there is a lot of burden. And with the coming of such bill, I think it's necessary for us to look at how we can augment the haphazard structure that have been established. Why I said haphazard, you cannot let your people be in a particular place and you are not doing anything for that area. Nothing is allocated to those places. If you go, there are no roads, no schools, no clinics, and yet majority of those people that work in the FCT resides in those places. So it's not about doing roads for Buhari, Abaji, and the rest, and then Kukuje, and then forgetting about Suleja, forgetting about Zuba, Okaru. There is need for us to look at this bill and give this bill the needed attention so that we can correct the anomalies that is there. So I plead with my colleagues to support this bill so that it can go for the second reading. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can understand that so many people want to speak to make their contributions in respect of this bill, but we are a bit constrained because you can see this document going around. The Committee on Finance, in conjunction with the leadership, decided to invite the chairman of FIRS and experts in tax laws to come down here to brief us about the tax bill. And that was scheduled to hold at this period. And the chairman is around waiting, as well as the experts who are going to brief us in respect of clause by clause, brief us on each of the clauses of the bill. It's a kind of interactive session, and whoever has any question about the bill, such person can ask, so that we can have more explanation from the chairman as well as the consultants who are going to be around with us. So it is this respect.
I'm Barry, I'm Barry Brand. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the best. I
If you feel like I stole your man, I don't think it should be a big deal.
For the privilege and honor, irrespective of the time constraint, to allow me to speak on this debate. On this bill, Mr. President, I do not support that this bill should be read the second time for some reasons that is clear. Mr. President, we are already working on the North Central Development Bill. And this bill is like showing that these satellite cities does not belong to the North Central. And we can't be making laws that are contradictory or just doing academic exercise. We have North Central Development Commission, which we have debated in this chamber. Coming back to debate another development commission for an area that is already covered in the other bill. I don't think it makes sense. Also, since there is an agency in the FCT that is saddled with the responsibility to develop the satellite towns, I will support what the former FCT minister said. We can, the sponsor of this bill can withdraw it, make the necessary amendments, and represent it. But coming here to pass a bill to establish FCT Development Commission, I don't think it's the right thing for us to do here. I thank you, Mr. President.
Busy, just 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I pray you listen to me. My name is Senator Patrick C. Ndubeze from representing Imo North. I want to explain certain or bring to bear certain knowledge or understanding about this FCT so that we'll follow or pass a bill that will not and have been part of FCT. Development Authority. Mr. President, we have STDA, Satellite Town Development Agency. But however, because of management and funding, the agency was brought down to be a department, STDD. And when the same work they were doing as agency, that's what they are doing now as STDD, as a department in FCT. And in FCT, we have the Health Secretariat, Education Secretariat, Agri Secretariat, and all the rest of them. So we can no longer come up to create commission that will supersede all of them, because there will be issue of commissioners and all the rest of them. In FCDA, in the FCT, they have not gotten anything commissioned. Rather, we have mandate secretariats, education, health, and all the rest of them. And they are being taken care of by mandate secretaries. So what I am saying is his bill is good, but it has to be restructured to be called Satellite Town Development Agency, which we have had. They have no work to do with financing education. It's all majorly infrastructure. They have engineering department, planning, survey, and all the rest of them. I have the company I chair before coming to the Senate. They have.
Thank you. Your time is off. Thank you very much, because hand up. Just 1 minute, 1 second remaining.
Okay. So what I'm saying is this, and we should go by that name, Satellite Town Development Agency, which they have had in the past, but was brought down to department. And when we go by this, the structure is already existing. And their work, I have said, will go by the department they have there. They have different departments there. There is nothing like commission in FCT. If we go by that, we'll be derailing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is, colleagues, we come to the end of this debate. As I said earlier, we have some guests waiting for us, and we need to receive them. This bill, everybody agrees that is something that is necessary, that intendment is good, but probably how it's going to be configured is a problem. So that has been raised by the former Senate leader and some others that contributed to the debate. So I believe that we should give it that opportunity to move forward, and then at the committee stage, the way it's going to be configured will now be decided. We don't kill the baby with the bathwater. Since we understand that intendment is germane, is apt, so let's allow it to move forward. And then when it gets to the committee stage, then whatever decision that's going to be taken in terms of how it's going to be configured, that will be done at that stage. And of course, when the report is brought to the floor of the Senate, we'll look at how the committee is going to do the entire thing. And if it's okay with us, then we can pass it. But it's not in tandem with the Constitution, or it doesn't go well, it's not sensible, it's not okay, then of course we can get it aborted. So it's on this note that I put the question. Those in favor that the bill be read the second time, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Satellite Town Development Commission, and for other related matters, 2024 SB 533, second reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal Capital Territory, FC Satellite Town Development Commission, and other related matters 2024. Second reading taken. Chief Whip, please ensure order on the floor. Chief Whip. Order, please.
Senator Denduse, take your seat. Senator DK Planks, take your seat. Senator Ndubi, take your seat. Senator Jarigbe, take your seat. Senator Yaradua, take your seat. Senator Denduse, take your seat. Chairman Communications, take your seat. Senator Halit, take your seat.
The bill is hereby referred to the Committee on the FCT to report back within 2 weeks. Let me commend Senator Wadada Aliu for bringing forward this bill. It shows the passion you have for the development of the FCT, and indeed the surrounding states. But as I said earlier, the problem is about how the bill will be actualized. And this can be sorted out at the later processing of the bill. And I do hope that the committee will do the best work in packaging the bill, so that by the time the report is brought to the Senate, the best manner possible in terms of the configuration will have been sorted out. And I hope that once your intention is actualized for FCT and the entire state surrounding the FCT, it will be good for all of us, to be good for the country. Thank you very much, Senator Wadada Aliu. The leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I am rising to move first for the suspension of Order 12.1 on floor privileges. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, this is to enable us allow some strangers into this hallowed chamber. And the essence of this, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, is that the leadership of this hallowed chamber took a decision, thus as was done by the leadership of the House of Representatives, to bring in knowledgeable experts and stakeholders that will come and explain certain things to us regarding the tax reform bill. which essentially is why I have not brought these bills for second reading, because we felt there was the need for us to be able to also ask questions. Apart from listening to them, to be able to ask questions. So essentially, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the few strangers we are bringing will include, like I said, 2 tax experts and consultants from different parts of the country, as well as the DG of Budget Office and the chairman of FIRS.
Beats the drop with Coke Studio. Buy a Coke and stand a chance to win an all-expenses-paid trip to South Africa. Video and music.
Colleagues, ask questions, after which we'll be able to do our own closed-door session and hold our own further interaction before we proceed or before we take any further legislative action on those bills. I so move, Mr. President.
Okay, order, what order?
Order 12. And by your leave, let me read. Privilege of the floor. No person shall be admitted in the lobby or the floor of the Senate while in session, except the following, and only by the consent of the Senate. And it goes like this. Number A, the President or Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and their private secretaries. Number B, former elected President and former elected Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Number C, former President and former Deputy President of the Senate. Number D, former senators and senators-elect. Number E, members of the House of Representatives. Number I, judges of the Supreme Court. Number G, former clerks and former sergeant-at-arms of the Senate. Number H, secretary to the government of the Federation while carrying out a message from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Number I, former Speaker and former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. Number J, ambassadors and ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Number K, governors of state and former elected governors. Number 8, members of the national legislatures of foreign countries only on official duties. Number N, officers and employees of the Senate in the discharge of their official duties. Number 2, the chamber shall not be granted for any other purpose than the use of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I read through some of these things, and I listened to the leader most appropriately. I don't see anywhere whereby the senators to allow these people to come here and make the kind of interactions they so want. However, committees of the Senate and Appropriation can invite for the interaction of this manner, no, but not the Senate in session. I think our rule does not cover invitation to consultants or any official of government to come and brief the senators. I so submit.
Thank you very much for raising your objection to this. But let me see. This issue of the tax bill is something that Nigerians are interested to know much about it. I'm coming. Now, I'll call you. The House of Rep did almost the same thing. So we felt, excuse me, I'm coming. We feel that it's important so that we cover this matter live. We'll go clause by clause, bring the consultant. Let us look at the entire thing. And then we will see everything. And also Nigerians will also have the privilege of knowing everything about the bill. And thereafter, of course, we will now decide what we need to do. We just want to make the entire process very, very much inclusive, carry everybody along, all Nigerians along. So I think probably he came under the wrong rule. He's going to rephrase his request, and then it's up to the Senate if you want that to be done, and if you don't want to be done, fine. But what the leader wants to do, and of course the committee, is to open the entire thing, let it be known by all, let Nigerians know about the bill, let us know about the bill, let consultants tell us what is there, let the crafters of the bill, that is FIRS, tell us about the bill. We want to make it as open as possible. We want to carry along everybody, all Nigerians. So this is what we want to do. Except we don't want openness, the intention is to open up to allow everyone to know. You may rephrase your
Mr. President.
Excuse me. Your point of order is noted, but I want to rephrase so that we can have it done formally without any problem. Leader, you have the floor.
Mr. President, I listened to the point of order raised by most distinguished, highly respected, well-revered former leader of the House and of the Senate, distinguished Senator Abdul Ningi. Mr. President, let me clarify. My motion was for suspension, not invocation, of Order 12. Order 12 talks about those who are privileged to speak in this hallowed chamber, as well as the exceptions that can be granted. But when a motion is moved for suspension, it means that rule does not apply again. In addition, sir, for the purpose of our working relationship, let me also amend my motion by saying that in addition to my motion for suspension of Order 12 on floor privileges, I'm also coming under Order 1B, which says in all cases where there's no specific provision or rule, the Senate shall regulate its own procedure. So, Mr. President, let it be said that my motion is based on both the invocation of Order 1B of our rules, as well as the suspension of Order 12 of our rules. Nigerians need to know, and we also want to know. Let's hear these people. Let's ask them questions. And that's why I've chosen that we go this way before I bring my bill for second reading. After this, we'll still have our own closed-door session tomorrow as colleagues to further discuss this issue. It's a matter of urgent public importance. I so move, Mr. President.
Manuel Leader, can you second the motion, please?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion ably moved by the Senate leader. I so second.
Those in favor that we should allow for openness, we should allow the Nigerians to know what is happening about the bill. We should also educate ourselves about the bill. And in that respect, the motion has been moved by the leader and seconded by my majority leader. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those are yes, nay. The ayes have it. Order, what order?
Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, Order 38. And I just take the last part of Order 38. That is order of the business. Mr. President, the order of the business says, number 10, that our business for the day will be based on the order paper. The order paper does not contain this. And for God's sake, this is a very, very, very important matter. We should not in any way try to use the position of the Senate, because the order paper is clear and we have been doing this. I have no problem having them to come here and explain whatever. We have been doing that, but we follow known procedures. And that is, if today this thing has to be taken, you now quickly ask for supplementary order paper that will reflect this. And as you said, this is a very, very important matter. It is not a matter that you just come and tell us after we are doing business of the day. Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You will have your way, but I can have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice. This thing is very sensitive. Our people have been dominated by this matter. When you say it's matter of urgent national importance, yes, we do have matters of urgent national importance. But even those matters normally is referred to the next legislative date or another legislative date. Please, I beg you in the name of God, in the name of God, this matter is very, very important to not only us, but Nigerians that we represent. And we swear by Bible and Holy Quran that will represent the interests of the people. These people partially have spoken. The governors, the National Economic Council, and that makes
you have made your point. Can I respond to you?
You can rule me out of order.
Let me respond. Let me respond to you. Now, please, we are not here for rhetorics. We are acting on fact. Excuse me. Order, please. Order, please. Order, please. Order, please. Order.
You, because you are sitting there saying saying it's
I know.
Are you saying, Mr. President, that a Senate?
No, leave me. Wait a minute.
Is that fair to yourself?
So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is an all-in-one productivity software where you can manage everything and anything related to your work. Your documents, your chats, your whiteboards, your projects. The value of this, you don't have to buy 5 softwares to do this. You don't have to be hopping back and forth between multiple tabs, trying to find that email from a year ago. Instead, you can find everything in a matter of seconds, keeping your work and everything related to productivity organized in a single place.
You've got the business idea. Now, give it the right address. GoDaddy has domain name options to make it happen. You're a search away, so go ahead, find it, name it, buy it, and build it. Take your business online. Find the right domain at GoDaddy.com.
We are trying to make everything open, live. Let everybody listen. The chairman FIRS is here. And why are you saying you don't want that to be done? This is wrong.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I want to present the team of stakeholders and tax law experts that we have invited to come and shed light on the tax reform bills. And Mr.
President, let me say that regardless of what is on our order paper, the order paper does not take precedence over our rules. And that is the essence of Order 1B that you have ruled on, that at any point, the Senate shall regulate its own procedure. And I will, at this point, Mr. President, ask that you recognize Chief Whip.
Mohammed, that's it.
Mr. President, I will leave the order of proceedings at your discretion. But let me say that we have the experts here led by the executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. I believe we also have the DG of the Budget Office here, along with other very eminent experts that we will listen to. And at the end of their presentation, Mr. President, I also pray that you allow any of our distinguished colleagues who may have questions to ask those questions. This is not second reading of our bill. I've not brought it for second reading. It is just for them to come and shed light on this. I thank you.
Chairman FIRS, DG Budget Office, and other experts that have been invited to appear before the Senate. What we want to do today is for you to explain to us, and indeed the entire Nigerians, what this bill entails. And then we'll, of course, go to look at the bill clause by clause. What you want to do is just to be well informed. And this proceeding is being viewed live by all Nigerians, by most Nigerians, those who want to watch. So it's an avenue for all of us, and indeed Nigerians, to know what this bill entails. So please be open and try to be simple in your explanation. Don't go technical, so that Nigerians will understand the content of the bill. It's in line with our resolve to be so open, to bring openness in the entire process. This is why we have set aside the rules of the Senate to allow you to explain to Nigerians. Order, please. Order, please. We are not going to pass the bill now. No, it's merely for information, for us to be educated. I think it's an avenue, particularly the opposition, to understand. They should be happy about this process. They should be happy about this process. I don't know why they are not happy. So please, you can take the floor. You can mount the podium.
Senator Mustafa Habib, resume your seat. Senator Lindi may resume your seat.
Point of order.
What order? Excuse, wait. What order?
Order 52.
Order 52.
And Mr. President, I'm Asundumi, I'm senator. And the rules of debate, 52:7 says, it shall be out of order to use offensive and insulting language. You called what I just mentioned and the point of order that I raised, you sitting there to say it's rhetorics. I think it's very unfortunate and you should apologize.
Well, I don't think the word rhetoric is a negative word. It's not an offense. Nobody used that against you. In the context it was used, it wasn't used against you. It was a general statement. I therefore rule out of order. Continue.
Senator Wadada, Senator Pasui, Senator Sani Musa, take your seats.
we also create distortion in the economy such that if I have assets and I can get those incentives, I can outprice the other person who does not have access if I don't like their face. This again, we believe is a matter we must correct. Another proposal we have in this bill is the fact that we want Nigerian companies to become multinationals so that we stop panicking every time that there's a problem with price of oil or volume. We believe that we can have multinationals in Nigeria today that will bring billions of dollars back from the money they earn globally. But our framework in Nigeria today does not encourage that. It's almost impossible. One of the proposals we have in the bill before you is to allow Nigerian companies that have operations abroad to get unilateral tax relief if they earn income abroad and they pay tax on it, and they are bringing it back to Nigeria and there's another tax on it. We should give them credit for the tax that they have paid abroad. This is what countries that want to attract headquarters companies to their jurisdiction, this is one of the things they have to do. And I believe that Nigeria is right to be that center, that destination, that choice location in Africa, first and foremost, for investment. If any company wants to invest in Africa, they will normally think about Nigeria first. While I was in the private sector, I advised many multinationals, local companies, and small businesses. 9 out of 10 times, when they ask questions about, I've also answered questions about a company that want to set up car manufacturing, one of the largest in the world, that eventually went to another country. When they ask you the basic questions and you answer them, they usually don't come back. And it's because the numbers don't add up. So beyond our aspiration to be a great country, beyond the population that we have, we must have the right framework and environment that is conducive for investment. Another proposal we have is that we looked at what Nigerians consume. You know, the multidimensional poverty index that we started with. We said health, food, we said education, we said living standard. It turns out that most of these consumption that people need for survival carry tax in Nigeria today, VAT. We believe that it is time for us to remove VAT from this essential consumption. Nobody should have to think about making a choice between eating bread or garri because of the VAT. So our proposal is that food should no longer carry VAT. Our proposal is that education should not carry VAT, whether it's hidden or revealed VAT. Our proposal is that education and health.
Put your money where it go, walk. Get down for your journey to the top. Every day you go jolly.
Public transportation, you should not have to pay back because you need that for your survival, going back and forth. The same thing with accommodation. Let people be able to put the roof over their head. So when we looked at the Consumer Purchasing Index by the Bureau of Statistics, all the consumption in Nigeria are classified into 12 categories. These very essential consumptions, they constitute 82% of where our people spend their money, particularly the low-income earners. We have proposed in the bill before you to remove the VAT on these essential items. In other words, 4 out of every 5 consumption by the masses, we no longer carry VAT. Only 1 we carry VAT. And that one that is carrying VAT is not the most basic things, which means people at the high income end are the one who tend to spend a lot of money on those things. While we are not saying they should not spend money to enjoy their lives, we're saying they should please give us a little for us to fund government. Then we also believe that we should allow businesses to restructure their organization. So there are people who start businesses accidentally. They cannot find a job, they start selling something before they know it. Before you know it, you have 5 companies and they're operating inefficiently. What you see everywhere in the world is at a point you reorganize your business to become efficient. Today, our tax laws come in the way of you restructuring your business to be efficient. It's almost like a crime for you to want to restructure your businesses to be efficient. We believe we must address that. Allow businesses to operate efficiently. The more efficient they are, the more value they can create. The more value they create, the more taxes they can pay. to the government. And last but not the least of the important highlight on this Nigerian tax bill is that our small businesses are overburdened with taxes. They have to do PAYE, they have to do VAT, they have to do withholding tax, companies income tax, and endless amount of levies and charges, particularly at the local government level. We believe that it is time for us to create a threshold that is high enough to protect these small businesses. Our proposal before the National Assembly is that any business that earns 50 million naira a year or less should not be asked to carry the burden of taxes here and there. Because our data shows that out of the informal sector and small businesses, SMEs, only about 3% of them are capable of carrying the tax burden. And this 3%, if we do it well, is in fact more than the number of people that are active in the tax system today. In other words, we are attempting to tax everyone, yet we are not making progress. What other countries do is to target their top end who have the ability to pay, put all your effort on them, and you begin to see the result that is transformational in terms of your revenue. So we also have this proposal before you to protect our small businesses. On the next slide is the analysis I just spoke to in terms of how we identify the essential consumption by the Nigerian people. For example, the average household in Nigeria today spend 52% of their income just to eat. The lower you go down the ladder, the higher that percentage is. So we do not think that anybody should have to suffer hunger because of taxes. So I'll leave that slide and speak to an issue that has been very, very hotly debated since these bills have been presented to the National Assembly. And that is to do with the revenue sharing formula for VAT. And if you permit me, I'll spend a minute or two just to give some background. In 1986, the military introduced the sales tax decree, and it was collected by states across Nigeria. 5 years, they did not make progress. In 1991, the military set up a committee and asked the committee, help us look at why is this sales tax not working? Should we be considering value-added tax? Because at that time, more than 100 countries in the world had introduced VAT, and they were very successful. So this committee came up with a finding and advised the government that VAT is a better tax than sales tax. Sales tax creates what we call cascading effect. Every state that you go through in producing, the sales tax will pile up. So that when you are done, the end product is too expensive. So VAT is a better tax. But the committee advised that if you must implement VAT, it should be implemented centrally, but the money should be shared to the sub-national, with federal keeping the cost of managing that tax. In 1993, the military introduced the value-added tax decree, and in 1994, the implementation commenced. By 1999, when we got into the Fourth Republic, we needed a constitution. If you read the constitution of 1999 and 1979, they have a lot of similarities. We believe that the 1999 constitution, because it was fashioned after the 1979 constitution, they did not remember to put VAT in the 1999 constitution because in 1979 there was no VAT. Because VAT has not been mentioned specifically in the 1999 constitution, and we have seen judgment even as recent as last week about gaming, lottery, that says it has to be House of Assembly of the States. Before then, we had one on hospitality and tourism. It also said, the Supreme Court said, it is the states. That is why Rivers State went to court. Lagos State has been to court on VAT, and they have won that VAT should be taxed of the state. But the final appeal is at the Supreme Court. A final determination has not been made. We see danger that if we wait for the court to tell us the answer to this problem, that answer will create chaos for us. Number one, every state will collect less than half of what they are getting now. Number two, businesses will struggle because you bought something in Kaduna and you are selling it in Ekiti. They will not allow you for the input. And the more the cost piles up, the more businesses will struggle. In addition to that, in the US today, United States of America, they do sales tax and it's collected by states. But the states cannot collect sales tax on imports or international services because that is the exclusive preserve of the federal government. If states should begin to collect VAT today, they will not be able to collect import VAT. Import VAT and international VAT is about half the VAT we collect in Nigeria today. If anybody will benefit at all, it will be the federal government. We believe that the right solution is for us to address the concerns that those states have so that we can have a political solution to this problem rather than the one that says, let's wait for the Supreme Court. Therefore, we looked at the current formula for sharing VAT, and it says federal government should take 15%, the state should take 50%, and local government should take 35%. That is the vertical distribution. But amongst the states, which is the horizontal distribution, it says at least 20% of the VAT revenue should be on derivation. The derivation for VAT is not the same thing as derivation for oil and gas. Every single state in Nigeria has derivation of VAT. When a state awards contract for their infrastructure, there's VAT, that's derivation. When any business there invoices for goods, that's derivation. But that derivation today is lopsided in favor of Lagos State because Lagos State is where the head offices of major companies in Nigeria are located. Today, VAT is attributed to the state where the VAT is paid to the government. For example, the largest VAT payer in Nigeria is MTN, followed by Dangote. When MTN remits VAT in Lagos, they are remitting VAT on all the calls that are made in Nigeria. Why is that credit given to only Lagos State? We believe that's lopsided. If Dangote sends cement across Nigeria to their distributors, Dangote's head office is in Lagos, they will pay the VAT in Lagos. All the VAT on Dangote cement, Bua cement, Lafarge cement are credited to Lagos. We said number one problem we must solve is to correct this lopsidedness of how VAT is attributed to states. Our proposal before you is that going forward, if we have your approval for the bills, every state will receive credit for the consumption within their territory. MTN will tell us these are the states where they made calls, and they can tell us from their masts. They have equipment. If I call here now, the call cannot go through until it connects. So they know where I am, I'm making a call. When Dangote does not sell one bag cement to retailers. They send it to their distributors. Their distributors have addresses that can be tracked to states. So Dangote can tell you, I've sold 10 million cement of bag of cement, and I sold 1 million in Kaduna, 10,000 in Ekiti. They can give you that information. So every state will get credit for the economic activities within their jurisdiction. We believe that once that correction has been done, we should then allow states to keep more of the economic activities that they have generated within their jurisdiction. One, because it is fair to do so. Number two, to discourage any state from going to the Supreme Court to get a judgment that they want to administer VAT on their own, which is not what we want. So this is the summary of the proposal we have that is creating a lot of debate, but we do appreciate those debates, but we believe and we appreciate and we are grateful for this opportunity to explain the reason for our proposal to the Nigerian people and of course to this distinguished Senate. I'll take a few of the other important provisions in those bills that I haven't explained. One of it is personal income tax. One of it is personal income tax. And like I said in my opening remarks, today we are taxing people that earn 30,000 naira a month. That's 1,000 naira a day. How can anybody survive earning 30,000 naira a month? Even if they live alone, they will do transport, they will buy food, they will pay rent, they will pay electricity. They cannot survive. So we are proposing in the bill before you that anybody earning 800,000 naira per annum including an extra 200,000 for rent, about 1 million a year, should not pay personal income tax. By the way, this threshold.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste.
1 million, 1.5 million naira a month, and less than that, we'll see a reduction in their personal income tax bill, because it's hard for everybody. We need to protect even the low middle income earners. These proposals, if approved by the Senate, will reduce the tax on 90% of our workers, both in the private and the public sector. And it will exempt more than 30% of our citizens who earn about minimum wage, around 50, 60, 70,000 naira. Then the remaining 10% who are not so poor will now pay a little bit more. The top rate today is 24% in the law, and we are proposing it goes to 25%. We're doing some other reforms around allowances and relief. So effectively, if somebody earns 100 million naira a month, clearly not a poor person, the maximum they will pay even under our proposal is only 25%. If they were in South Africa, they'll be paying 41%. If they were in Kenya, they'll pay 35%. Of course, if they're in the UK or the US, they'll be close to 40%. But we're doing only 25%. One other reason why we believe it's important to adjust that rate for high net worth individuals is to encourage formalization. Today, distinguished senators, if I'm doing a business and I call it Taiwo Enterprises, I did not register with CAC, and I'm honest to pay my taxes, the maximum personal income tax I will pay is 19%. If I make a mistake to register that as a company the following day, from next year, my company income tax is more than 40%. We are trying to correct this so that businesses will be encouraged to formalize their businesses. When they formalize their businesses, they open the door for growth. And then, because they grow, they pay taxes. I will move on to the second bill. The second bill is the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill. This is the bill that is seeking to set up a minimum standard for how we administer taxes across Nigeria, including harmonization of our tax identity. Today, someone like me can have about 3 IDs in Nigeria.
Please, can we listen to him in silence, please?
Senator Malamodori.
Okay, I'll round up now. Yes.
Senator Malamodori, please take your seat.
So for someone like me, I reside in Lagos.
Senator Neda, you must take your seat.
I do most of my work in the FCT, and I also have a number with Joint House Board. I have like 3 identities. So we're saying, let's harmonize it.
Excuse me, wait. Please, can we listen in silence, please? Everybody's interested in what he's saying. You can see people at the gallery. The gallery is full. Nigerians want to listen to him, want to hear what is happening, want to have a knowledge of what is going on here. Please, let's listen to him in silence.
Yes, I'm almost done, maybe about 10 minutes, Mr. President. So we also, as part of this proposal for the Nigerian Tax Administration Bill, we are proposing that we use technology to administer taxes in a way that is efficient and to be able to connect intelligence across Nigeria, so that if there's anyone who is evading taxes, we can find out. And if there's anyone who is too poor to pay tax, we can exempt them. We also have provisions for exchange of information between and among tax authorities. We have proposals for tax refunds. So if companies have overpaid their taxes, we should allow them to get a refund so that they do not have to borrow at 30-40% to pay government instead of doing their businesses. The third bill is the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill. This bill, as I explained earlier on, is trying to make the FIRS play its proper role as the revenue agency of the federation that collects money for the federation, and to then connect with other agencies as well as subnational in terms of tax intelligence, use of technology, capacity building, and collaboration and exchange of information. The last bill is the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. I already explained this bill. It's trying to reform the Joint Tax Board to play a bigger role. It's trying to set up the tax appeal tribunal in a way that it can handle tax disputes across Nigeria. Of course, taxpayers have the right to appeal to the court if they are not happy with the decision of the tax appeal tribunal, which the National Assembly has set up, but under a different framework. And the last one is a tax ombudsman to protect our small businesses and vulnerable taxpayers. So I will conclude on the next slide. Our belief is that revenue is only a means to an end. It is not an end in itself. And our policies, tax, fiscal policy, monetary policy must facilitate sustainable growth and development for shared prosperity, which means that our economy must be organized in a way that is conducive and investment friendly. Our fiscal and tax policies must be purposeful and coherent, easy to understand and administer. Our laws must be enabling of businesses and dynamic, and governance must be simple and efficient. I'll conclude with our prayers to the distinguished Senate and the National Assembly. Our prayer is that our distinguished senators will go through these bills and help us consider them based on their merits and based on national interest in the light of the challenges that we face today. We stand ready at any time that we are given the opportunity to come and explain, to be able to do so, even to committees or any groups, as the Senate may so desire. We pray before the Senate that these proposals be favorably considered. Like I said, there are over 200 proposals trying to reform different areas of our tax system and the economy. We thank you very much for this opportunity today. We do not take it for granted. And once again, Mr. President and distinguished senators, thank you very much for the opportunity, and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, Kana. The floor is now yielded to DG Budget.
Order, please.
Tanimu Yakubu, you have the floor. Mr. Tanimu Yakubu has the floor now. We'll listen to DG Budget. It's a new DG Budget Office of the Federation.
Distinguished Deputy Senate President and esteemed senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Our nation's economic trajectory demands urgent intervention. In 2015, Nigeria's gross domestic product stood at $493 billion, the highest in Africa at the time. Today, however, it is projected to decline by 40% to $363 billion in 2024, with a further alarming drop of 19.6% to $241 billion by 2025 if no corrective action is taken.
Chief Whip, take action, do something.
This means that within a decade, our economy would have lost over
Take your seat.
half of its
Senator Wadada, take your seat.
a staggering
Former Chief Whip, take your seat.
from 2015
Take your seat.
to 2025.
Senator Pasi, take your seat. Senator Adam Ashimole, take your seat.
This administration is determined to halt this economic slide. A critical step has been the removal of subsidies that disproportionately benefit the wealthy redirecting those funds to strengthen public sector investment in critical infrastructure and service delivery across federal, state, and local government. The results are already evident. Last month's Federation account distribution set new records in allocations. The results are already evident. Last month's Federation account distribution set new records in allocations to the 3 tiers of government. The tax reform bills before the National Assembly represents the next pivotal step in this economic recovery process. These reforms aim to consolidate the gains made so far, ensure sustainable revenue generation, and lay the foundation for a robust, inclusive economy. There are 10 compelling reasons why these bills will not only prevent further economic decline, but also catalyze a rapid economic turnaround for our country. 1, strengthening national growth. Nigeria's tax reform is a bold step toward building a self-reliant economy. By enhancing revenue generation, we reduce dependence on external borrowing and pave the way for sustainable growth and development. Fair and inclusive system. The reforms are designed to create a tax system that is equitable, ensuring that every individual and business contributes their fair share while protecting low-income earners and fostering social equity. Number 3, driving economic diversification. By reforming tax policies, Nigeria is supporting sectors like agriculture, solid minerals, manufacturing, and technology. And predictable tax system instills confidence in both local and international investors, creating an environment conducive to business expansion and job creation. Number 5, encouraging compliance and efficiency. With streamlined processes and technology-driven system, tax collection is becoming simpler, more efficient, and less prone to abuse, encouraging voluntary compliance. Number 6, empowering state and local governments. Tax reforms strengthen the fiscal autonomy of states and local governments, enabling them to fund critical infrastructure and deliver better public services directed to their people. Number 7, investing in the future. Increased revenue from reforms will be channeled into vital sectors like education, healthcare, and infrastructure, ensuring a better quality of life for all Nigerians. Number 8, global competitiveness. With a modernized tax regime, Nigeria positions itself as a competitive player in the global market, fostering trade, innovation, and economic partnerships. Number 9, a collective responsibility. Taxation is a shared duty of citizenship. Through these reforms, every Nigerian plays a critical role in nation building, contributing to a stronger, more prosperous country. And lastly, a pathway to prosperity. This is not just about raising revenue. It is about creating an economy that works for everyone. The tax reform represents a collective effort to secure Nigeria's future and unlock the potential of our country. Thank you very much, distinguished senators.
Thank you, DG Budget Office. Let me, before I hear the floor for questions, you still want to come back, FIRS Chairman? Are you done? Okay. All right. Now, excuse me, we're going to hear the floor to members to ask them questions. They have made their presentation, and that's what we want. Because you may be aware that they did the same thing before the Governors Forum. They also did the same thing at House of Reps. And that's why we decided that they should also come and do the same thing here to explain to us. And they have made their presentation. Now, we yield the floor for members to ask questions. And before we do that, excuse me, you don't want to ask questions? Okay, okay. All right, you don't want. Okay, thank you very much for listening. And thank you very much for your presentation. We have listened to you. We have listened to you, and we shall continue the debate tomorrow in an executive session to arrive at a conclusion. As I said earlier, it was a mere presentation that we wanted them to make for us, and they made it. And I urge you, just the way you've made this presentation to us, make it to Nigerians. Tell people in Hausa language, in Igbo language, in any other, all the languages, so that people understand what you want to do. Nigerians don't know. We don't know until when you made the presentation to us. So we thank you very much for coming. Chairman FIRS, Chairman, I'm referring to you, and you are busy. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you for what you've done by coming to present the facts to us. We will now retire tomorrow to our own cocoon to now decide on what to do. So thank you very much. You can now take your leave. The leader of Senate, can you please move for adjournment? And then we move for adjournment. You want to see?
Mr. President.
Take your seat, take your seat. My chairman may wish to take his seat, if you wouldn't mind. Okay. Take your seat, please.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I stand to move first that the suspension on Order 12 of our rules with respect to floor privileges be now reinstated. Secondly, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I'm also standing to move further that other items on the order paper for today be stepped down for the next legislative day, and that having listened to the presentation on the proposed tax reform bills, that will continue the debate in a closed-door session
tomorrow morning. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that Order 12 of the standing rules of the Senate be reinstated, having finished with the strangers on the floor, and that we adjourn the plenary today till tomorrow to continue the debate on the tax bill before us. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion moved by the leader and second by Minority Leader, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Well, let me make it very clear. Because we told Nigerians that after their presentation, we allow senators to ask questions. We have not moved away from that. By tomorrow, when we shall continue, we'll still invite them for questions. So this adjournment will allow senators to prepare their questions so that they can ask them. So anyone that has any questions should put that together. When they come back tomorrow, we are now well informed. Then we can ask them. And one can see now that those who are objecting to this kind of arrangement may not be right after all, because information is power. You need to be informed. There's nothing wrong with what they've done. So let's all be patient whenever we are going through this kind of arrangement. So passing a bill is not something that you just do it at a go. There will still be public hearing. There will still be other processes to go on with it. Then later it will be brought again to the plenary, and then it will be passed clause by clause. So it's a very long process. This is just the beginning of the entire thing. It's the beginning of the beginning. So please let's all be patient. You can have your view, but let's be well knowledgeable about whatever you want to do. Thank you very much. With this, this August Senate is adjourned till tomorrow by 11 a.m. prompt. Everybody knows tomorrow.